Hi, I'm Joanne Rafalowski from the Ontario Horticultural Association, and I'm here with Vicki from Griffin's Greenhouses, and she's going to tell us the difference between a perennial and an annual.
So a lot of people get confused about an annual and a perennial, and I completely get it. Sometimes the tags are super confusing. They have zone information on them. Your good garden centers in your local area will have things organized into perennials and annuals, but sometimes things get a little mixed up at times, especially if you have a display like we have here. For example, I have a Rose of Sharon, which is a perennial, mixed in with some mums and some cabbage and ornamental kale, just because it's pretty. So sometimes that can throw some people off. So do know that an annual will be in an annual section, and it is a perennial, a plant that only comes up for the one season. It is for the length of time of which it will bloom. For most of the annuals, so for example something like an ornamental pepper, which is seasonal right now, or even these really pretty pansies. This is a eucalyptus plant, kale that's in here. They've been blooming and performing well in the garden and in containers since about June, July, and they'll last until the frost takes them.
As long as you water them.
As long as you water them, that's right, and care for them in an appropriate way, fertilizer, that sort of thing. Whereas something like our Rose of Sharon friend here, or this really pretty Angelina sedum, is a perennial, and this is a plant that comes back year after year. Overwinters in the ground. It doesn't overwinter in your house or in your garage. It has to stay in the ground, and then it will come back for you next year. Usually once the ground thaws and it starts to emerge and come through. Something like a Rose of Sharon is really late to emerge, looks like it didn't make it through the winter, and then finally you see these little sprouts come on it, and you're really happy that it has happened. Something like the sedum, you'll start to see these spikes starting to green up a little bit, some more coming from the core and looking really very pretty as April moves into May and we get more sun and warmth. So the difference is really remarkable. If you plant an annual and leave it in the ground over winter, it will be very finished the next spring, whereas your perennials, which you're purchasing in a different section in your garden center, will be popping up and emerging, coming back to life. Sometime when the ground warms up. Sometimes it's April, sometimes it's May, depending on the spring that we have.
We live in Canada, so
you live in Canada, so you never know. One of the best tricks for overwintering your perennials is making sure that when we go into freeze up in November or such, that they're very well watered. It's really important to make sure that they're well watered, they're healthy going into winter, so then they can come back healthy in the spring.
Now is that the same for trees?
Yeah, absolutely. Before you put your hose away, absolutely. Give everybody a really great drink, especially if we've had a dry fall.
Okay, that's great, Vicki. Thanks for all the tips. And make sure when you're in the Peterborough Lakefield area, you come to visit Griffin's. And also, they're on a garden route.
Yes, yeah. There's a great little marketing pamphlet that we have. There's a website, gardenroute.ca, and it's 7 garden centers and garden gift shops all together that you can follow and do the route and come visit us all. Makes for a really great afternoon.
So keep gardening and have fun.